Hello, welcome back to another video. Sorry for the Omega delay. Been really busy working on other projects and putting this video on the side and procrastinating and kind of polishing this video out. I really do apologize for that. But now I really want to get to this review of Iria Zeiram the animation, released back in 1987. Heads up, at some points in this video my mic might sound different. That's due to me recording at different times and then putting that video in a different file and then reworking with them later on. Didn't really had enough time to really sit down and do this entire thing in one run because I was rewatching the entire anime, because I just really wanted to have a better structure as to present it right. I didn't want to half-ass it, but yeah, I apologize for that if you notice that a lot in this video. Once again, I apologize for that. I'll definitely work on that later in the future of my other videos, and yeah, I'll just work on that. This video will also be broken down into 3 slots. We're going to be talking about the history of the anime, the story of the anime, and my final thoughts of what I like and didn't like about the anime. Hope you guys enjoy this video. More projects in the future, of course, and I'll see you guys. After the successful release of Zeiram 1, Keita Amamiya, director of the 2 Zeiram movies and plenty other successful tokusatsu films, was called up by Bandai Visuals to do another film, but in a different media. Keita Amamiya will go on to show a story to the production staff team about Iria and her adventure before the events of Zeiram 1 and Zeiram 2. Everybody in the production staff team thought it was a great idea. It went on to start making this project become reality. They soon figured out that this would be too hard to film, so they went full-on animation, and thus we got Iria Zeiram the animation. The US didn't get a release of Iria Zeiram the animation until 2000 on July 14th. A couple years later, in 2016, on March 30th, we got the Iria Zeiram the animation collection. Then later down the line, we got the collection once again, but this time it was a master collection released back in 2016 on March 8th. Then finally, we got the master collection once again released on Blu-ray on July 25th, 2023. Iria Zeiram the animation was a success and went on to win the Seiyu Award, the same award shared by plenty other great films like Shin Godzilla and Jurassic Park. Iria Zeiram the animation is a 3-part series exploring the origins of Iria and how she became the bounty hunter that we are familiar with in the films. We are introduced to a new character named Grimm, who is Iria's brother. We also get the origin story of Bob. In fact, this is where we actually get to see him as a human before he becomes the AI companion. The first part of the story starts off with Bob and Grimm as they are being called in by their company to the Antipodes for a rescue mission on a spaceship. Iria ends up tagging along in the mission with Bob and Grimm, showing that she is brave and strong just like her brother. The mission ends up going horribly wrong because Zeiram shows up and starts wreaking havoc. Bob gets defeated by Zeiram, and Grimm stays behind to nuke Zeiram in the spaceship, leaving Iria being the only one who survived the mission. Iria ends up crash landing on a whole different planet, and now is trying to find her way back home and stop Zeiram. On this planet, she meets up with an orphan named Kay, who becomes her sidekick later in the story. Zeiram also shows up on this planet and starts killing a bunch of people, so Iria ends up saving the day. Iria says goodbye to Kay and leaves off the planet to go back home. On her way back home, she gets in a call with our new character named Fujikuro. Fujikuro is also a bounty hunter just like her. Fujikuro explains to Iria what's been happening back home and tells her a little bit of an origin story about Zeiram as well. He tells Iria that Zeiram is an organic weapon of war and that whoever control it could use it as a strength of power. It ended up being so bad to the point that the government actually made it illegal for people to capture Zeiram. Fujikuro and Iria decided to breach the corporation of Tona Antipodes. Inside the building, Iria meets up with the vice president, This was the guy who called out the SOS mission for Bob and Grim. Back at that mission, Iria found a necklace that was owned by the Vice President that had a secret chip within it, with the voice message being the Vice President talking about Zeiram and how he wanted to use him as a strength of power. Iria was able to get a hold of the Vice President for more information and finds that Bob was actually still alive. We come back to the planet where Kay lives and shown that her town is being completely wiped out by their own government. Kay and her friend Kuimasa decide to leave off planet to find Kay's brother. They found a spaceship that will soon be flown by Dr. Toka, but unfortunately gets hijacked by a bunch of rebels. Back home, Iria, Bob, and Fujikuro get word that Dr. Toka has been kidnapped. Dr. Toka supposedly has more information about Zeiram than anybody else. So with that information, they want to get in talks with him to possibly find a way to stop Zeiram. Kuimasa and Kei were able to safely make it to their destination and finds that the pilot that was supposed to be riding the spaceship, Dr. Toka, was actually kidnapped. Iria was able to make it to the location where Dr. Toka's spaceship landed and finds strange creatures imprisoned inside glass chambers. They also find the hijackers who were killed by something. Kei and her friend were able to free Dr. Toka, and now at this point they were trying to find a way to escape. But unfortunately they are attacked by one of the creatures. Iria was able to save the day by killing the creature, reunited with Kei and his friend and the doctor. But unfortunately they were stopped once again by a familiar face, Grim, but not the Grim that we know, because for some reason he seems to be not himself. Iria and the group were able to escape from Grim, and now they were trying to find a way to get out of this situation. They decided to use the spaceship Iria used to get here, but unfortunately they were stopped by Grim once again. Iria deciding to stay and fight her brother. Iria was able to distract Grim, giving enough time for other characters to escape and for them to also blow him up. But unfortunately, the explosion wasn't enough to kill him. So Iria once again had to stay and fight Grim. Kuimasa, seeing the opportunity to become a hero, stays and helps Iria. Unfortunately, it costs his life as well. Iria kills the simulated copycat version of Grim with a rocket launcher. They were able to say their final goodbyes to Kuimasa before he passed. Unfortunately, back home on Mice, Zeiram has been spotted and is wreaking havoc, killing a bunch of civilians. Iria followed Dr. Toka in one of his press meetings discussing the events that's been happening on Mice and Zeiram. Dr. Toka explains that Zeiram needs to assimilate organisms in order to survive. Unfortunately, not only do they not believe Dr. Toka, but the only way they think they could defeat Zeiram is by just sending off to space or blowing him up, knowing that they already done that. Dr. Toka believes that the only way to kill Zeiram is by actually destroying him, and not just sending him out to space or blowing him up. Iria, with all this information, decides to follow Dr. Toka on the other side of the building. She finally reached Dr. Toka and get more information from him, mainly about his simulation powers. Iria believes that her brother might be still alive in some way, due to his cells being assimilated by Zeiram. Iria believing now that Zeiram is using Grim as a host. Zeiram having a whole army now, due to him assimilating half of the population of mice, goes on a rampage and starts wreaking havoc with his army. Fujikuro and Kei seeing this battle rage on. Fujikuro was able to get a good look at Zeiram as he goes on a rampage, and was shocked to find Grim as a host to Zeiram. Iria shows up, facing out Zeiram, hopefully being able to kill the parasite and saving her brother within him. Iria was able to weaken Zeiram enough for Grim to come out of the parasite and telling her to kill him, due to him being fully assimilated, and there was no hope for him. Unfortunately, Iria wasn't able to build the courage to kill him. She chucked a grenade, but was unfortunately hit by the blast. Fujikuro was able to save Iria before she plunged into her death. Iria woke up a few hours later, horribly scarred and beat up about the situation. The army and mice are now fighting against Ram and his army in a city that once was populated by people, now a desolated wasteland. Fully recovered back now, Iria, Fujikuro, Kei, and Bob strategize what they need to do next. But unfortunately, they are out of ideas, and they get word that the mice security team is planning to send Zeiram off space. Kei thinks otherwise though, wanting to actually defeat Zeiram instead of just letting the security team teleport it off. Seeing Kei's bravery give Iria enough courage to go back and fight Zeiram. On her way to kill Zeiram, Iria is stopped by a bunch of flying enemies who she kills quickly. Iria and Kei finally reach the top of the tower where Zeiram is waiting. But unfortunately during their fight, they are teleported off planet. So Iria's round 2 with Zeiram continues. After a long and stressful fight with Zeiram, she finally builds up the courage to kill him and avenge her brother. Putting an end to Zeiram's terrorist attacks for now. Iria can finally relax now, knowing that her brother's death was not in vain, and giving us a happy ending. Iria Zeiram, the animation, is definitely an underground anime that people should be watching, or at least have on their watch list. Not perfect, but still a solid series. I enjoy the screen time we have with these main characters as well, especially Iria. I thought Iria's backstory in this anime was really well written. Iria is suffering from survival guilt due to her brother being a host to Zeiram, which gives us the entire reason as to why she hates Zeiram a lot. Because Zeiram took away her role model, her brother, who she looks up to all the time, because he's a skillful bounty hunter and she wants to be like that one day. And with that survival guilt and that, hatred of Zeiram and her brother dying in front of her and her having to kill him, brought her to that point, of being a skillful bounty hunter by the end of the day, because that's where her brother would have wanted, and I find that to be kind of cool. I do kind of wish we had more screen time with Iria's brother and Bob, due to this being their first time being introduced, in the whole Zeiram series so far. Especially Bob. Bob has been a recognizable character from the 2 films, and it was kind of cool to see him in his human form, but he kind of dies quickly, and it's kind of unfortunate a little bit that we didn't get to see him in his human form a little bit more longer, but that could just be me a little nitpicking, but I don't know, it just would have been kind of cool to see that, and Grimm as well, if he survived a little more longer. But yet again, that we wouldn't have had like that whole character arc with Iria, but that's just me. And Zeiram, the big bad, the villain of this anime, I thought he was really great. I enjoyed the time when he was on screen. It was always a cool little moment when Zeiram showed up. Just seeing him wreak havoc, absolutely obliterating the town and killing everybody, it was just really entertaining. Not really a lot to be said about him, honestly. It's Zeiram, the unstoppable, alien that we're usually acquainted to, I did actually like his design though. They switched up his design a little bit. He has like a golden chest plate, and he's rocking like a biomechanical organic look than typically seen by Zeiram in the films, which I kind of like. I like to imagine that he's an alien biosuit, which he does eventually become. Overall, I really did enjoy watching this 3-volume part series of Iria Zeiram, the animation. I do wish we got a season 2, or at least a continuation as to what happened with Cade and all of the other characters in the Zeiram series, because this was a prequel to Iria's backstory. Would have been kind of nice if we got like some kind of like season 2, or at least like a manga or something, but we can only hope. Thank you for watching. Thank you guys for watching. Sorry I haven't really, I want to thank y'all for watching. I'm sorry that this video took so long to come out. Just like I said, I've been really busy on working on other things. I've been pushing this to the side and then rewatching the anime and then polishing things out. I really wanted this to be like really good. I don't think this was like as great as what I'm like gonna show off more on the channel, but I just wanted this to get out, and just wanted to release this soon, before it becomes too late. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you guys did, please like, share, subscribe, and do all that, and I'll see you guys next time.